So hey guys, today we're looking at the upcoming Forbidden Limited List update, or otherwise ban list, whatever. So this is going to be applied on April 9th, so fairly soon. And I genuinely think this isn't like necessarily that great. So we're going to ban Beatrice, which right now I'm thinking, but we could still have Beatrice for a little bit longer because I genuinely don't know what you're doing with Beatrice. That's just so degenerate. It's just going to be, I guess, send Ghost meets Girl with transaction rollback, right? Well, what else is there? And I mean, if you do that, that's like running a bunch of bricks in your main deck for that and that alone. And in fact, if you cannot discard either Ghost meets Girl or the rollback, then you can't do that combo, if you would call it that. And also, if you can't combo at all, you just also have 2 random bricks in your deck now. And this isn't even that consistent to do necessarily. It's kind of like eh. And then we have Block Dragon back to 1. Just okay, I guess. Was Block Dragon like that bad necessarily? I guess it's like kind of whatever-ish. One of Block Dragon's like probably okay to an extent. I don't remember exactly what you can do with Block Dragon, so maybe Block Dragon should be banned, but I'm not like 100% sure on this one. Sengen Kaiman, I feel like this should have been limited like, I don't know, like 3 billion ban lists ago, because this is the most sacky BS, and I have no idea why we have one of Sengen summoning and one of Chundra before one of Sengen Kaiman. It makes absolutely no sense. Just 0. So, yeah, Field Spell is strong, right? But I could, like pop the Field Spell on Search, which is a little bit easier to deal with than Sangan Kaiman, which I need specifically a Spell Trap Negate. Whereas I could use a Spell Trap Negate or a removal for summoning, right? For Sangan Kaiman, you pretty much have to specifically negate this. And you know what? If you negate the activation, you can activate a second one while you're here, you know? This one, you can activate as many as you want of Sengen Summoning, I guess. But in my opinion, Sengen Summoning is not as bad of a card as Kaiman. And if you think about it, every single copy of Kaiman is essentially a copy of Chundra or Pydra or whatever Tenpai card you happen to need. Well, in terms of the main deck ones. So this is the most disgusting card in the archetype. So that's something. So limiting Chundra to 1 doesn't mean anything, honestly, because essentially if I have, for example, 1 copy of Chundra and then 3 copies of Kaiman, then I might as well have 4 copies of Chundra, unless there are grind game reasons why I no longer have Chundra. So if my Chundra gets banished in the graveyard, if it gets banished in the deck, or something like that, then I have no more access to Chundra. That's all Chundra to 1 does. So that's like the weirdest limit ever. For some reason, they're worried about Tenpai's barely existent grind. Chundra to 1, aside from that, opening Chundra's annoying, I guess. So, you normal summon Chundra or special summon Chundra if you control a Tenpai, but like, if you normal summon a Tenpai and then I hit it with the negate destroy, like in this case, it would be like normal summon Pydra and then I hit it with a negate destroy, like, I don't know. Let's think about it. Negate destroy monster effect. I guess let's say Crystal Wing, sure. So we Crystal Wing negate the Pydra. Then what? Whole lot nothing, huh? And that's about where that goes. And if it's specifically a negate activation type effect, like something adjacent to Appaloosa, but not quite Appaloosa because Appaloosa doesn't destroy, we could also negate Chundra's effect in the damage step. So there's that. Then we have per Lily from 2 to 3. I genuinely have no idea why per Lily was at 2. This accomplishes literally nothing because we have Eperly Noir, which is somewhat consistent in it being able to grab us Pearly, which then enables us to recycle Per Lily or Pearly anyways. So Pearly being like semi-limited makes sense, right? Because there was the degenerate Ghost Trick stuff you were doing, which allowed you to like summon Pearly multiple times over the course of a turn and build like a stupid amount of advantage. So like maybe you could argue like 2 early makes sense, right? And then also like this affects the grind game as well, but not like that much because you can pre-leap to put stuff back. So there's that, right? And then there's also the question of, is Pearly even that good? Like, does Delicious Memory necessarily have to be at 1? Like, that hit is probably the one I think that doesn't make sense anymore. Because, like, it just makes it more sacky to find the Pearly Delicious Memory, which is annoying. And Delicious Memory is kind of a strong card, but is it, like, actually that bad? The only thing Delicious Memory really does is 2 things. So first, this helps with Pearly's OTKing ability. And you know, most decks can OTK, but Pearly just struggles a bit. So if you pass on nothing, there is actually a moderate chance that you will just live another turn. But I guess your opponent could make a really big Zeus. And in that case, if they only make the really big Zeus, you can't even Typhon that Zeus. So that's also especially awkward. But I mean, as long as they don't have like Sleepy Memory, I think most of the time they shouldn't be able to OTK you, genuinely, right? So then after that we have, let's see, Delicious Memory creates Plump, and then you make Expertly Noir. Even if you have like 2 copies of like really big Expertly Noir on the field, I don't think it's actually the most terrible thing in the world. And Pearly, is it even well positioned here? I don't think I've seen like Pearly played in like forever, right? I think Pearly doesn't really have that good of a going second combo, right? Or that good of a going second. I mean, Pearly's just fairly well balanced in general, being able to somewhat deal with spells and traps, and also being able to deal with monsters in an assortment of ways, like with non-targeting removal, I believe, somewhere, maybe? Or is everything targeted here? Let's see. You're gonna attach that card on the field to this card as material, then banish one monster on the field until then phase. Nope, that's non-targeting removal right there. And then this one is target removal, but this works on back row as well, so it's non-destruction back row removal. And then you also have return, a spell trap your opponent controls to the hand, which is another form of well, this is a, wait, is this targeted? This is a non-target spell trap removal that's also not destruction, which is pretty good in its own way. You have some like floating type effects and also some like follow-up play and whatnot with your Stray Pearly Street and My Fit Pearly. How does this actually match up to the current meta? Like, I genuinely just haven't seen Pearly in so long, and most of the cards are still not like fully hit. It's just a few random ones. The main hit is Delicious Memory, really. If we put Delicious Memory back to 3, is Pearly that much of a menace, honestly? Genuinely, no idea. But real talk here. If we look at the current ban list, like before this will happen, Pearly unironically has more hits to it than like overall. It could have been, I think it might have more hits than either Tenpai or Beansmith, which is just weird to think about. I think the amount of hits it has is comparable to Snake Eye, actually, right? Snake Eye has 1 to 1, and then Poplar to 1, Snake Eye Ash to 1, and then you have, well, it's not quite there. They need to hit one more thing, I guess, and then it'll be there. It's pretty close though. So yeah, the the main thing this ban list really made me realize is I have no idea why Beatrice should be banned immediately as of this moment, and no idea why this was still at 2 and not just dropped to 1 like immediately, because this is the best Tenpai card, I would argue. And then Block Dragon going back to 1 is like, this card is only used for degenerate things, so no idea why we're allowing this. Like, if you're allowing this, you might as well unban Hulk while we're at it, you know? And while we're at it, why not also unban Ronco Miniad just for fun? Sure. And then I genuinely don't know why either Lily or Delicious Memory are like it at all. Genuinely confused. So yeah, that's all I got for you guys today, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.